With all the information coming to light, with all the masks being removed and the veils being removed, and we have access to so much information at the moment, we're having a lot of truth sayers, people sharing their knowledge that contradicts a lot of what we have been told, of been taught, or of information that's been withheld from us. And when I watch these podcasts or these interviews, one of the main questions that are being asked is, so why do they not want us to know? And who has been withholding this information from us, and why? I want to share my perspective on this because this is a common question. And it feeds into the narrative that there is someone, that the reason why you do not have truth, or the reason why you do not have information, or the reason that you are ignorant, or the reason why you have been misled, is because somebody's been withholding information from you. There is always someone that has some sort of control over what it is that we know, what it is we perceive. But that can only happen if we allow it. The reason why it appears that information is being withheld from us is the same reason why, when you tell your children what to do, when they need to make a decision, you tell them what to do and what not to do. You make that decision for them because you believe that you know best. And then if someone were to ask you, why are you telling them to do that? Why don't you let them do what they want to do? You will say, I'm protecting them. In our own personal experience, how many of us actually face a subject or a topic by collecting all information from various different perspectives, presented to those who we love, our children, for example, share with them the history and certain outcomes, and the present and certain outcomes, and your own experience and certain outcomes that have formed your opinion, and other people's point of view and their and history that you can get access to, and certain outcomes, and then ask them from your place of wisdom, if you had the opportunity to make this choice, which one would you make? And trust them with that. Why don't you do that? Why is it that as leaders, as teachers, whether it's in the religious sphere or politics or everywhere in the world, we are telling people our opinion and how we see things, and what we believe to be right or wrong, and expecting others to follow that? Why not gather all the information on that subject as much as you possibly can? And nowadays we don't have excuses. We've got access to infinite amounts of information, so many different people's perspective, their stories, their opinion. Why not allow for the gathering of various opinion and perspective, and then bringing it to the table and saying, based on what it is that you've researched and found, and I've researched and found, and the experiences and the outcomes, because that's the way history serves us. What choice would you make based on, what would your wisdom guide you towards as a leader or as a decision maker? We don't do that. We say, this is how we do it. This is what's right for us. We don't believe in that, and we don't believe in that, and that's not right, and that's not right. How many of us actually tell our own stories? There's a lot about our own history, our own behavior, our own choices that we don't share, because we have shame around it, or because we don't want to admit that we made the same sort of mistakes. Because we believe that we are protecting others by telling them what the right path is, when that is manipulation and control. So why do we question that our leaders do the same thing? And why do we paint them black and demonize them? Because they are leaders of our choice and of our making. Somebody is put in a position to make decisions, to have the power to decide for all of us. because of because of a collective energetic influence that we have. Those people are of our creation, right? And because they're in a position of leadership, we expect them to behave differently and to know what is right or wrong. But we don't realize that how we behave as leader in our own home, in our own community, in our own place of work, creates, alongside with many other people who are doing the very same thing that we are doing, a collective energy that puts someone who is a vibrational match to how we show up and the energy that we create. If we don't encourage free thinking, if we don't encourage unconditional love, if we encourage that I know, I've got life experience, I know what is best and you must do what I say or else, and that I'm only going to give you the information that manipulates you and makes you do what I want you to do because I believe that is best, then those are the leaders that we create. So if we want that to change, we need to look at the example that they give us, and we need to start to implement that open honesty, the freedom of knowledge, information, and respecting all different perspectives and paths, putting them all on the table, weighing them all up, and allowing the souls that are a part of our journey to tap into their own wisdom. We create, and we are a part of creating reality. And so when you ask a question, why is this so? Ask yourself also at the same time, where could I be doing the same thing in my life, in my experience, where I have influence? And you do have influence with the leaders and the powers that come into being. They are fueled by the collective mindset and the collective energy. We are not victims to their influence. We put them there in one way or another, whether we want to admit it or not. And those who instinctively say, no, I've got nothing to do with that, as I always say, where you are triggered, that's where your work begins.